virtual convention partnered with QLikeU.com. My name is Ria. I'm one of the staff members here at QFX Events. And who I have here with me are the wonderful ladies of Utopia Falls. I have Humberly Gonzales as Brooklyn 2, Devyn Nakoda as Stage 5, and of course, Kate Drummond as Authority Phaedra. Well, I want to start this off with an icebreaker because, those are always fun. And you're actually going to help me settle a debate that I have with the director of QFX Events. So, do you think pineapple belongs on pizza?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
You're breaking my heart.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I knew I could count on you. Yes.
It does.
Listen.
You need to have the sweet and the savory at the same time, like that good balance.
Balance.
Okay, maybe it's just because I don't like pineapple on its own.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
That's okay. I will give that a pass.
Okay. Like I would maybe throw like a mango on there or something.
No.
Tried that yet?
No mango. Cancelled.
I will try it. I won't knock it until I try it.
Okay, thank you.
I will always try something once.
Yes. Yes. So how are y'all doing? How are you holding up and keeping yourself occupied and sane during quarantine? Any fun games, new hobbies,
I've been online shopping a lot. I've been reading, and I've been trying to work out as much as possible. So I'm trying to keep myself busy. I have been sleeping in like an insane amount though, which I need to kind of break that habit. But staying sane, staying healthy, and I'm happy and good. So that's all I can really ask for right now.
Yeah, amazing. Sleep is needed. You have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm gardening a lot. So I have a backyard for the first time in a very long time. And so I made a garden of just digging the grass and the weeds out. And I'm trying to grow cucumbers and tomatoes. And every day I go out and I'm like, did you see that? Do you see that? There's a bud. There's a thing. There's a flower. Like I'm actually obsessed with my plants.
Okay.
Which was really fun because I actually just can't wait to have a crop and give it to my neighbors. It's so silly.
That's amazing.
That's so sweet.
I'm gardening. I'm spending an obscene amount of time with Zelda. I'm trying to work out a lot, but I'm not gonna lie, it's not going well. I find the motivation is lacking in that department. It's like, okay, so I'm not going to camera until, I've got 4 weeks now to get, to feel really good about myself. Okay, good. It's like I'm always counting down when I go back to camera. But yeah, it's a challenge. I've been finding quarantine a challenge. We just moved to a new city and we're away from our community and stuff. So it's just been a bit of a challenge for me, but thankfully I've got the puppers and my partner and the garden, the plants.
Thank goodness for the garden.
Thank God for the tomato plants. Yeah.
I've been gardening, but not in real life.
Yeah.
No games. Because I am still obsessed with Animal Crossing, and I'm sure everybody watching is like, we knew you were going to probably say that.
We already know.
I wish I could garden. I actually really want to eat my own vegetables and cook with it because I love cooking, and that's what I've been doing a lot of during quarantine. The fact that I have to feed myself 3 times a day, every day, it's a lot of work. It's something that, I haven't had to do that. In our work, they feed us every day, and I usually take leftovers, so I go months without having to shop for food or feed myself. But this has been really fun because I've made new things. Like yesterday I made tacos and I made my own tortillas. Like I made everything from scratch.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Go for it. I made everything from scratch. And it was it's so, I don't know, there's something really satisfying about cooking an entire meal and then sitting down to eat it and you're like, I made this.
Do you eat fast though? Like do you find it goes you put all the work in and then it's just gone? And you're kind of
it's like, an hour and a half of intense cooking, and then suddenly 15 minutes later you're like,
yeah.
hungry again in 2 hours. Let's start cooking now.
Yeah.
You're in a taco coma.
Like, do you at least like take a picture of it before you eat it? You're like, I made this. I'm gonna save the picture later. I know that's mine.
Yeah.
But other than that, good. I mean, I'm healthy and I'm safe at home, and I think just focusing on that is what keeps me sane, because I know that we are all in this together, and like as long as I'm safe and healthy, I think that's more than what a lot of people have. And the struggle is like, you know, the emotional struggle through everything that's happening is tough, but there's such a beautiful community even online. Even though I don't get to see everybody I love, it's so great to be able to check in on each other and do things like this where we, you know, get to focus on positive things and see each other.
Can you imagine if we didn't have the online community? Like I can't, because for me, I've always called them the family, the famdom. And I feel like they are so much of what has gotten us through and gotten me through, you know. It's just checking in and reading what they're saying and seeing positive things happen to them and stuff. It's just like I can't imagine, like, if we didn't have the internet, how much more isolating this all would have been. Like, I just feel so blessed that we've had, like you said, Humberly, like the community is just amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, and you know, so we gathered a whole bunch of questions from Twitter and Instagram from the fans, because you know the fans are amazing, and we've picked and choose the best ones, or I hope so. And I hope whoever's watching knows that, like, you know, your questions, we've all seen them and we've tried to put them here for you. So the first question is, what was your favorite or challenging scene to shoot? Let's go with Devyn first.
My favorite, I've said this so many times, everyone knows already. My favorite scene that I shot was the fight scene in episode 10, just because I got to do my own stunts and I had a really, really fun time doing that. So yeah, it was really exciting and something that I'd never done before. And I had John Stead was my stunt coordinator, and Humberly was my badass partner in that scene, and it was just a great time. And yeah, I really liked beating up those guys. Yeah.
And it was very believable, Devyn.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
You were so kick-ass.
Yeah, that's so good.
I'm pretty sure that you could just do that anytime you're in trouble. Just like go back to the choreo and be like,
yeah,
that's
what I was thinking.
The same technique every time.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh my god, amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
What about you, Humberly? What was your favorite scene to shoot?
Honestly, I absolutely loved shooting my final song in episode 10. When I got to be like, I remember having this moment when I was on the stage looking out with all of these bright lights. I'm wearing this like incredible piece of work by the costume designers, and it was, you know, I had goosebumps. It was this like, I could feel the energy of this like song and everything, and the fact that, you know, we had been through this whole crazy journey, and like those seconds of like looking down and breathing, and then our going, ready, action, cue music, and then it would just start playing. Like I literally like my goosebumps in that moment, and it was just like, gosh, I will never forget that. It just felt like I was like a real pop diva and a dream come true, because I love singing and performing, and it was just me up there. And then, you know, getting to like have Mickey come on, and then our backup dancers, and then I was like, okay, now we're in it. But that moment I'll always remember, and like I carry that as like the heart of it, because it had been like towards the end of the journey, so it was always like, oh, my heart, we did it, we're doing it.
We felt it. I feel like we all felt it with you. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Kate?
I think secretly Phaedra kind of had a little tear with your performance, Humberly. I moved. I think I moved. No, I'm not. Shut those feelings down.
Down.
I think my most challenging and favorite scene are the same, and I think it goes back to there are so many fun scenes. But the interrogation scene with Aaliyah and Bodhi was definitely the most challenging and the most fun, because all three of us, like the preparation for that scene was so massive, because, and I was saying this in another panel, that what happened with that is that in the scene when it's so intense and it's sort of Phaedra and then you see Bodhi and then Phaedra and then Aaliyah and then Phaedra and Bodhi, and it's sort of like this one continuous conversation. But I had to do the scene twice, well, multiple times, but all of my lines to Akel. And then for Robin's lines, she was sitting in the corner in a little ball saying her lines, but I was looking at Bodhi, at Akel, and I was having to imagine that, okay, no, that's not Akel saying that line, that's Robin saying that line. And it was just like, it was such a mind trip to have it, because they just needed everything to be so seamless. But between the three of us, I mean, I think we rocked out that scene so bad, because I think we just really, like, you couldn't phone that scene in at all. It couldn't be like, oh, I'll get that line on my close up. You know, it was like you were in, and of course it's really fun to be an antagonist and be in such a strong arming scene like that, where you're really trying to intimidate your hero, because it gives them something to work so hard for, you know, and that's always really fun to set that challenge for the heroes of the show. So yeah, I think that was my favorite. Definitely. It was just like such a cool dance with the two of them.
It was a pretty powerful interview scene too. So
yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
That kind of fits in with like the next question too. So how similar or different do you feel you and your character are, and how do they resonate with you? So Kate?
It's that's a tricky one. Because I play a lot of antagonists, the trick to playing an antagonist is that you have to defend them. You have to defend their heart. You have to look at them and not judge them. Even though Kate is like, what a jerk. Like, this is terrible. That's not what I believe. You know, it's like basically like the polar opposite. So then you have to look at the character and say, okay, what is it about Phaedra that I can relate to? And what I can relate to about Phaedra is just her passion and drive for what she believes is right. And so what I do is I just sort of channel like the things that I'm super passionate about and what I would, you know, fight for. And, you know, pull out all the stops for. And I mean, I bring that part of me, that sort of fiery side of me, to the character. So I think that's how we're similar, in that we just really take a strong stand for what we believe in. But yeah, we're so different, obviously, at the same time. So yeah. That's the fun. Make believe. Literally.
Yeah.
What about you, Devyn? How similar or different are you from your character?
I think that Sage and I are very, very similar. We are both very introverted. And one thing that I really, really admire about Sage is that the love that she has for all of her friends and her family. She will do literally anything for them, and she's always there for them. And I really admire her for that. And I think in that way we're similar. And also, just the love that we have for dancing and performing. That's when we can really express ourselves. I started dancing when I was 2, and that has always sort of been my outlet and the way that I can express myself without having to actually be vocal about it, which is something that Sage and I both struggle with a lot. So yeah, I would say we're pretty much the same person, honestly.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Kimberly?
My answer is kind of the same. I feel like Brooklyn is very close to me. I started with singing as well, so singing has always been my outlet to express, especially like singing in Spanish. And like my entire family sings. My dad was in a band, my mom and I sing, my brother sings, and it's like it's always been this passion that I have. But I love that Brooklyn is. I mean, she's very cocky and confident, which I am too. Maybe not to that extent where she's like, I got this. Don't worry, I'm going to win this whole thing. Like, I don't think I have that like forceful cockiness, but definitely the confidence, like her wittiness, her sass, her Even her emotional side, I connect with a lot more. I think the one difference is that I think Brooklyn had never really felt softness, something that Sage allowed for that because she has a soft spot for Sage. And then at the same time, what happens to her finding out that she's dissonant changes her entire fiber, and this almost like this veneer of what she thinks and has always been. Once that is shattered, she finds this other side to her. And I relate to that a lot more. Like the Brooklyn after the dissonance is so much Humberly. The Brooklyn before that was a little more like gated and guarded and like had everything under control, which was probably a younger version of me, not gonna lie. So we've been all versions of this character. And that's why I think when I read for her, and it came so easy to me, honestly, the audition, I didn't do more than 2 takes, and I was like, I'm too confident in this. And when I sent it, I was like doubting. I was like, should I have done more? And in my inside, I was like, no, like that's what I think she is. That's who I know she is. So leave it up to the industry gods. And
Amazing. What do you do to prepare for a scene? Any challenging scene? Who wants to go first?
I remember, so I shot a lot of my really emotional scenes in one day. So it was literally like a full 14-hour day. And I did my scene with my mom when I find out I'm dissonant, then my scene with Aaliyah, then my scene with Sage, then the crying scene when she's just alone in bed listening to We Found Love. So I had all of these scenes back to back. Definitely I have to drink a lot of water because I'm crying a lot. But music helps me a lot. Especially if it's music in Spanish and music that reminds me of back home. I get really emotional when I think about my mom, and I'm kind of estranged from my family because we live so far away. So that's always like a really soft spot for me. And because all of this kind of had to do with that, I remember before my scene with Aaliyah, I was just like, and just me alone in bed, I was just off in one room, like listening to music. And I just told them to call me over when they were like totally ready. Like I just had to come in and sit and do the thing. Just so that I didn't have to hear the outside noise and I could just focus inward. And literally be in my feels. Like all you have to do is like get the feelings out and then just kind of be like, okay, stay around, like cultivate them, like let them grow, let them just stay in. Because sometimes I feel like if I get there too soon, it feels very cathartic and my body doesn't want to cry anymore. And it's really hard to get that back. You have to like have no resolution until it's like, okay, we're moving on, scene's over. And that's tricky. You have to just hold on to like a little tiny bit of the trigger and I'm right back in.
Wow. Yeah. Kate, what about you?
This role is a little different for my prep to get into my scenes, just because Phydra's just so, she's just so hard ass, all the time. So, she didn't really have to sit in her feels. It was sort of, I was, basically I was running lines. Like I was literally as prepped as I was for, the journey of Phydra and through the series, because you can't play an antagonist like a one note, badass the whole time. Like you've got to really sort of find those really subtle levels. So I found because Phydra is very wordy, she like some of the things I had to say, I was like, how is my mouth going to do that on the day? That doesn't work. Those words I've never put together. Like there was this one sentence I forget, and it was like, it was like, there was like dissension and dissuasion, dissension, and something, all these D words in one sentence. And I had to like do it. And so for me, the prep going into each scene was literally like, okay, what are these words again? What are these words again? What are these words again? And then when I got in, it was just, it's all thoughts and, it's just your actor. It's just how, individual process or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, definitely there weren't a lot of feels to sit in for Phydra, which, is a really fun place to go as an actor. And, I have to say, like, Humberly and Devyn, like, just because you two are here, but like, the heroes of the show are these performers are the teens, right? And they're so beautifully cast. I'm just sort of a little side shout out. They're so beautifully cast and so their hearts, they couldn't help but to show their hearts through their characters because they're just perfect casting. And so, it was such a gift to the show, all of them, because they're the ones who really do bring the heart of this story forward. And characters like Phaedra, she's important, yeah, because she's an obstacle, but it's more sort of like that group, that core group, they are like, I have just mad respect and love for them because you guys just did fantastic. You guys were just so good.
I'm gonna cry.
I want to hug you. I miss my community. Anyways, but yeah. So sorry, Devyn, on to you and your prep.
Okay, thank you so much. I love you. Yeah, no, I totally agree with Humberly. Music helps a lot whenever I need to like get in my feels, that helps. I would just go be by myself, away from everyone, every distraction, and then just sort of like set the tone for the scene. But I also, at the same time, I don't really like to dwell on it. I'm that type of person, if I start to think about it too much, then that's what's gonna throw it off. So I just like to listen to my music, get in my head, and then just go and just like see what happens. And that, honestly, I mean, it's worked for me so far, but that's just how I sort of like to approach really every scene, not even just the really emotional and tough ones like that. But yeah.
Always about the music. I mean, music is amazing, and the music in this show is amazing. It really stands out.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the impact that you and your characters have made on all the fans and of course the LGBT community? Humberly?
It's been honestly that to me is the biggest takeaway. To create something in an art form, in a new genre, and have these characters and the story in itself, it's just speaking to so many different communities. It's so relevant to the times now without even knowing. It's like all of the things that we want in life, equality and justice, and all of the things that we literally want. Utopia Falls is like, here you go. So I mean, I said this, I was doing an interview before and I was like, it's almost like the show works as a tool for the people watching it to discuss the topics of today. It's like real examples you can draw from to be like, this is why we need this, or like, look at this relationship, this is why it works, or like why we don't need to, it's amazing because people saw that even without us having to explain ourselves. They saw the show and they could see themselves in it. And the love that I've gotten even for Brooklyn, I mean, I've had so many beautiful conversations with people, discovering things about themselves, or at least feeling reassurance and love and seeing themselves on screen in a way that they've never seen it before. And not just through the acting, but also the dancing and the music and the singing. So it's really neat. I never even say that, but that's the word that came to mind. Incredible. It feels so full. It feels, like art really does create art, and like we've gotten that love right back. Like the love we felt creating the show, we've gotten it back times a million. So I feel very grateful to have been part of this.
Absolutely. I feel the exact same way. Like the reaction when the show came out, it was overwhelming. And I don't even want to call them our fans. Like they're our friends, they're our family.
Yeah.
Like, they are so great. And just everything, I don't know, like I've had so many conversations with a lot of them too. And they're just the most down to earth, sweet people I have ever had the pleasure of talking to. And all of the support has been seriously so amazing. And I'm so grateful to be a part of a show that showcases everything that we've been talking about, every single social injustice issue that's been going on. And yeah, really, really close to heart.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to add except that, art is life and life is art, right? And it's a real, sometimes our art I haven't been drinking. That's the funny part. Sometimes our art challenges us, and it's exactly what challenges us in our life. It's always sort of, as I think for a lot of for a lot of artists, that's what we're constantly doing, is we're looking at ourselves and reflecting on who we are and how we view the world and how we interact with people and how we show compassion and empathy in the world as the world changes around us and we change our role in it. And I think that this show is, I was watching RT's interview today, and he was talking about that, Utopia Falls, at the time that he was creating it, yes, it was based on a reality, but it wasn't the reality of what we're seeing today. That is this movement, this powerful, passionate movement. But it is the society of Utopia Falls that is deeply flawed, and these youth that are rising up and saying, "Wait a second, I want to explore my history. I want to question things. I want to ask questions. I want to see things differently. I want to put on different goggles. I want to see the world through a different lens." And I think that, I'm so proud to be part of the show, because as a former teacher, I love the fact that I'm part of something that is sparking dialogue, that is showing, it is just, it's like a microcosm of our world through art and entertainment. And I just think it's such a powerful show and a real launch point for teaching.
I love that. That's amazing. I know. I saw Humberly go chills. I got that. It's so good.
Yeah.
Let's see. So someone asked about plots, like story plots in the series. If you were given a chance, what story would you want to write it about for any of your characters?
If I had to write more plot lines for my character, like in coming seasons.
Yeah. Theories.
Oh.
Ooh.
Right?
I gotta turn into my writer right now.
I know. Seriously, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Troubleshooting.
Okay, you guys think, but I have one. Like, I'm so ready for season 2 and 3 and 4.
I don't own script.
Yes.
So here's my theory. My theory is that Phaedra cannot be who she is just out of the womb. She wasn't born this way. Something very, very tragic, deeply wounding in her heart happened. And we touch on it, through her turning in her parents and things like that. However, I think there is massive, massive heartbreak and vulnerability in this woman. I do. And my hope, and I feel like Phaedra needs to find love. I feel that, and the first time I saw Aaliyah's mom come into the picture, I was like, that's who Phaedra's going to fall in love with. And it was literally the coolest revelation, because I thought, it's a power struggle. Immediately, it's a power struggle. And female is always, there's always the initial competition. But underneath that is a real desire to connect and to love and to be loved and to be heard and seen. And I think when you have two powerful women like that have obviously been very traumatized by their backgrounds, I feel that there is a connection. There is a way to bridge those two. I would love in season 2, I'd love to see that sort of alliance happen, that sort of relationship. I'd love to see the challenge of Phaedra pushing against love while she's trying to maintain the power stance that she has. But I'd love to see her lose her footing. I'd love to see the oppressor be humbled in the second season, and perhaps in that alone have a lot of learning happen and teaching moments happen for this for our audience, I have lots of ideas, but I would be here until tomorrow.
Like, I need this now.
So yeah, that's my.
Yeah, I
that's
need
my-
that to happen. Seriously.
I think that's
Season 2 right
brilliant.
now.
I love
I
that.
mean, I'm trying to think of now that you're like, okay, how does the story continue from where we left off? Aaliyah's locked up. Me and Sage are like alone in the freaking academy, and like, what do we do? But I really think like we have to break Aaliyah out. We would have to form some kind of plan, and like we start this freaking revolution. If the girls have gone to New Lazarus or wherever they're going, the girls are gonna stay back and initiate that change within New Babel. And we're gonna start this like kind of like what Philip started, like the underground thing, but like we're gonna keep using the music and the dance, and definitely more fighting. Like you're definitely gonna get everybody to fight and defend themselves.
Yes.
Brooklyn is gonna use like power of your voice, right? It's like, oh my gosh, she sang that song at the end, and they were like, we didn't know that you could sing about this, or you know, it's like use your art against the system. So it would be more like we would start this crazy revolution, but definitely like, the first plan would be breaking Aaliyah out somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh my gosh, could you imagine if Sage brought her like ninja moves to Phaedra?
Oh my gosh.
we're gonna get Phaedra on our side somehow. Girl
Somehow
power.
it's gonna happen. If it takes me like fighting her first, I'm all for it. It's gonna happen. Yeah, no, I completely agree with Humberly. I think a revolution is underway. I think that would be really awesome. And for Sage, I just hope I want to just see her keep on evolving, because I mean, from episode 1 to 10, she's a completely different person. And I just want to see how far she can go with that. And, you know, her and Brooklyn are in a really great place by the end. So hopefully their relationship continues on like that. And yeah, I don't know.
I will fight for you.
I hope so.
I love you too.
We all hope so. You know, we all hope for love. Hope for love.
Always.
Authority Fighter 2. That was actually one of my questions. Will she find love?
Now we know.
Oh, here's a fun one. If anyone on the team would battle each other, who would get served?
We kind of settled this. Like someone made a video of all of us fighting and who would be the last one standing.
Yeah.
And apparently Brooklyn would end everybody. They like, I mean, yeah, I feel like she could take on everyone. To be fair, I think Sage has some mad moves. It would be like down to you and me fighting till the death. And I'd probably be like,
we would pull some like Hunger Games thing where we'd like, oh, we don't want to kill each other, so let's just pretend that that's what would happen.
Mutual death. Yes.
That's so funny.
And I'll just watch. I'll watch the fight and be like, oh, youth. I'll just end them with the press of this button.
Oh my God, yeah. Actually, Phaedra, because she's like, and done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she would win.
I've had enough of this one.
Yeah, literally. She's like, everything is rigged here. I own this entire place, so. Aw.
All right, I have to mute and grab my coyote. Hold on.
Oh,
Her coyote.
coyote.
Her dog.
Oh,
Her real coyote or like her dog?
I don't know. I hope her
And
dog.
dog.
I mean, I know she moved to like the forest.
Oh my goodness.
That's
oh, there
hilarious.
she is. You coming?
I was like,
Is that Zelda?
yeah. No, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Zelda.
Ooh.
The halftime show where we play with dogs. Or you'll it's like, I'm out of here.
Okay, so we do have a few more. Let's go with this one. If you were to search the archives, you know, as your characters, what do you think you would find that belong to your relatives?
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Call them. Imagine like Snoop Dogg calling out what kind of music your relatives played, what kind of art they created.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would love to see anything from like my heritage. Like if it was like Latin America and you hear like salsa or like merengue, you discover someone like Celia Cruz But it's like she's the most powerful singer, and like I grew up listening to her. That would be really cool. And maybe seeing that like other people in my family sang too. I know that they mentioned something about my cousin being like kind of like shunned and ghosted, and there's like a family history of whatever's wrong with me runs in my family, but we don't know what that is. It could be something, you know, that isn't like a disease or something. It could be something, I don't know. I always wondered about that. I'm like, what is the dissonance that she can't have kids because there's something in her genetics, or is it something that's like a mental thing? Like, I don't know. That would be really interesting. But definitely finding out Spanish in general. I just want her to like learn Spanish somehow and like singing Spanish. That would be cool.
That would be cool. Devyn?
Yeah, I think I would love for Sage to learn Japanese. Devyn would love to learn Japanese, actually. So that would be great for both of us.
Perfect. Yeah, I have no idea. You know, the first thing that came to my mind. Oh gosh, this is one of these moments where I feel like I'm gonna regret saying it. I feel like Snoop Dogg would be like, "Hey, we've got some Garth Brooks here for you." Like I feel like it's like country twangy. I don't know. I feel like that's. I'm following an impulse here, so just bear
Well, you
with
are
me.
wearing this hat, and so why not?
I know.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give some more thought to that. I'm going to make that my journal prompt tomorrow.
All right, let's go with does anyone have any upcoming projects that you're excited about? that you can share?
I did.
Oh.
No, it's just everything got like
Yeah. Understand.
Everything's on hold, right? So
Upcoming, like we're gonna start shooting, or things that are premiering.
Oh yeah.
Premiering. Let's go with premiering because COVID.
Fair, yeah. I'm like, work is coming. It's just pushed, but yeah. I mean, me and Devyn have a show coming out at some point. It's gonna be on Netflix, called Ginny and Georgia, and that happened after Utopia Falls. So it was kind of great that we like kept running into each other on set and just kept passing by. We never interact, but we were there, and you'll see us both on your screen, which is like pretty epic. But yeah, Netflix will be us. I have a show called Jupiter's Legacy coming out as well, and I'm very excited for that too.
Devyn?
Yeah, just what Humberly was saying. We got to work on that show together, Ginny and Georgia, and that was a lot of fun. I'm sad our characters didn't get to interact, but we did see each other on set. We were hanging out in each other's trailers. I'm pretty sure like one of the first days that we were both on set together, we filmed a self-tape in Humberly's trailer.
This is
together for something else. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun, but that's really the only thing upcoming for me.
Okay.
I've got a couple of movies coming out. One is called The Novice, which is a very cool. It's a rowing movie, actually. It's a little kind of like Black Swan-esque with that sort of dark self-reflection, evolution of the lead kind of thing character, and I play the antagonist.
Really?
I actually do play nice characters. I mean, like I do play heartfelt characters. It's either I'm either like the devastated mother or I am the, powerhouse antagonist. But anyway, so The Novice is coming out, I think very soon. And I shot a movie in December, except they've changed the title of it. And I don't know. It's like, I should know the name of the new title. I feel like such a jerk right now.
They're like, this was promo for us.
They're like, this is terrible of you. Well, no, because it's like, it went from being a dangerous test. And now it's something like pretty something dirty cheaters, something.
Sounds great.
Hold the line. I will tell you. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to my people. But yeah, so that's coming out, and but I'll promo it on Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all I can think of.
We have one more time for one last question. Do you have anything you want to say to all your fans, in regards to shelter in place, or just any last words?
Sorry, I was like, oh, I have a whole speech. I just love them. Honestly, it's been so amazing to interact with them, to see their art. And I actually have, this is what's been saving me. Shout out to Molly if she's actually seeing this, but she literally made these masks. And they're so cool, and every time I go outside and wear them, I'm always like, yeah, Utopia Falls, this is literally
oh my goodness, I need that.
And then there's like all of the sectors.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I love their art. Honestly, like I got this mounted for my wall.
Ooh,
and it was Silas who made it. And just, yeah, little reminders that like, you guys rock. And yeah, it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously, thank you for everything, all of the love and support. Like nothing goes unnoticed. I hope they all know that. And yeah, even especially during this time, it can get pretty lonely, but whenever I need like a smile, I just go on Twitter and I'm like, I'm going to talk to my friends for a little bit. And it really helps me. And I love them. They're the best.
Yeah, I just, thank you. Thanks to everyone. It takes a certain amount of courage to reach out to actors on a show when you're a fan of the show. And I really value that. I value that vulnerability that our friends online show when they reach out and ask a question or send art, or, I have a Phaedra t-shirt, like a baseball tee that's a Phaedra tee. I love it. I think that is such a courageous act. So, it's really, you guys, I guess I'm addressing the fans right now. You guys are constantly, I'm going to stop saying the word guys. That's one thing I'm trying to do. That's in my learning. I'm trying to stop using the word guys. You friends of mine are constantly a source of inspiration for me. You are constantly leading with your hearts and reminding me that I can do the same. You're constantly a reminder of why I do what I do. Which is I live to tell stories that affect people and affect change. And I just love you. And, and like Devyn said, nothing goes unnoticed. If I don't respond personally, it doesn't mean I don't see it. It's just, sometimes there's a lot of messages, and I'm just so grateful. And thank you for making what I do feel so valued and important. And thank you. That's what I want to say.
All right, and that's a wrap. I just want to thank you all for joining us here at QFX CloudCon. I do want to thank Humberly, Devyn, and Kate for being here with us. You guys were and always are wonderful. I also want to extend a thank you to our amazing interpreters, Jennifer and Amber. Aren't they great? All right, and again, I'm Ria. You can find me at Realize, and you can also find these lovely ladies over at on their social media accounts and on Twitter and Insta. But also be on the lookout. We all have a ton of programming for the rest of the weekend. And we actually have our watch party up next with Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night, good evening, good morning.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are in the world.
This is amazing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having us.